My talk today is 5 tips for stress management, but I'm gonna scratch this right now and say 6 tips. And start with go with the flow, because I feel like everyone this morning had something going on that they didn't expect, and they just have to cope with it, and now we are all here together. So let's go with the flow, let's see how this goes. And I'm gonna start talking about how stress is actually important to you as well. Stress has something called eustress, that is a positive stress. Stress is everywhere in life. We need stress to grow. Plants, they come from seeds that accumulate energy, and it's through stressing the soil that they sprout. So stress is important, but we don't need to bring more stress to our lives than what's already there. So introducing myself, my name is Felipe Muñoz. I'm from Brazil. I'm living in the US for 5 years now. I am a father, I'm a husband, I'm a tarot card reader, I'm a life coach, I'm a meditation teacher, I'm a dog lover, I'm a graphic designer, I'm an artist. I'm so many things as everyone here. Just a mosaic of all the things that gives us passion and makes us thrive. So I moved from Brazil to Pensacola 5 years ago. And it was a huge change because in São Paulo, where I live, it has 12 million people living there. To take the subway some days was pretty stressful. If you don't get on public transportation and you're just on your car, you still would stress out with traffic. Worst days there, you could get like 120 miles of traffic. Every day I worked with advertisement for about 10 years. The deadlines were always stressful, and I was gonna get home and work on my freelance projects. So that was taking a toll on me. Stress was literally eating me alive, and I was eating more and more and more because of stress. I needed to stress less and take away from my life all the stressful things that was happening all the time. Again, this is about my life. This is what worked for me. So think about how you can implement that in your life. I started volunteering. In Brazil, you can imagine with a huge population in São Paulo and all that, we have lots of problems and lots of opportunities to volunteer. To me, it started when I was in a group learning about mediumship. It's a common practice in Brazil. You have a lot of spiritist centers where you learn how to develop your mediumship and literally get out of your own mind. So studying mediumship, and through one of the insights and one of the communications that I had, it really made me think and empathize with other beings. And with this group where I was working, where I was studying with, we started volunteering with homeless people. Every week we would go out and talk with them, bring food, bring water, bring out necessities, and really try to comfort them to some level, developing relationships with individuals that most often you just ignore when you're passing on the streets. It was a really strong motivation. Volunteering was really important to dealing with stress, even if it sounds counterintuitive since you are. But because you're developing empathy, you're exercising compassion and selflessness, you're reflecting more on the things that you do and realizing where you stand in the world. Not only that, but you're releasing oxytocin, a hormone that is associated with good things and good emotions. So volunteering brings that happiness, neurologically speaking, to yourself. That was the start. I said, be happy was my motto, and I just started trying to do more things for others. Second tip, changing your environment. So I wasn't happy with how things were working at work, and I decided to open my own company, a place where I could be whoever I wanted to be, where I could paint the walls however I wanted, work with my friends and the people that I like. That gave me time to enjoy more relationships with my friends, to focus on my hobbies, to do more of the works and projects that I love. So changing your environment, whatever you don't like, it's my second tip for how to deal with stress. Third tip, self-development, or get a hobby. Volunteering so much with the homeless, and I started volunteering with children as well. That was a completely different perspective. They all have parents, they all have their parents visiting them. Because of the situation where their parents were leaving, they were taken and put on a shelter. Going there, it was so rewarding because you could see everything through a different perspective. Like if you bring your phone in and you give to these children, they'll take photos, they're silly and you would never think, and you'll laugh for reasons that you wouldn't imagine. Then I kept my journey of self-development. I got my Reiki 1, I kept my mediumship training, and I put for myself this goal of how can I be better at helping and improving myself so I can help others. My marriage fell apart. I was trying to develop myself, and it happens that when I was trying to take stressful things from my life, my marriage was one of those stressful things. That happens with a lot of people. And it worked for the best. I was still stressed, but I was a lot less stressed. And that gave me time to focus on myself and see what things that I didn't like. So I kept volunteering. I kept changing the things in my life and my surroundings that I didn't like. So I moved back with my parents for a while, then I moved by myself, but I got closer to my family. I kept my spiritual development going, and the universe was aligned and giving me more happiness than I could ever imagine. And physically, I was feeling better. That led me to my fourth tip, which is faith and love. For some people, they would start here. All these ideas is for you to put in whatever order you want. But faith and love came after I was in that stage of my life where I was really putting myself out there, giving myself more, focusing on myself, and that's why faith and love in this situation. Love yourself, be compassionate and forgiving to yourself, and be open and honest to yourself. Keeping those things in mind before you reach out to something greater than yourself or other people, what really will change your life. Believing in yourself, believing in your dreams, and keeping your expectations about yourself realistic. Don't be hard on yourself. Faith and love will really drive you and drive the universe back to you. Faith and love also release oxytocin. This is common to all these tips that I'm giving, scientifically proved to benefit you. So my fifth tip, meditation. As you can see, this is pretty much the journey of my life. So meditation kind of came naturally at some point. Found a space for myself, create your own space. Because meditation is an individual practice. You do what better works for you. Different ways, different methods, different practices. But truth is, you can teach the best practice to someone that can't fit that in their day, and they will not do it. Not everyone can be a Buddhist monk. Not everyone will understand mindfulness. We really need to work on what works for us and for our development. And meditation allows your thoughts to be organized, and sometimes it's just taking a moment to reflect on what is going on. It's just taking a moment of silence. You're going to develop a resilience towards stressful situations when you meditate. You're going to have more clarity in decision making. You're going to have more focus and overall better health. Meditation, again, also releases oxytocin. It's all about how your brain works and what are the things that bring this hormone to surface to you. Now I'm happily married. I'm 5 years married. I have a beautiful son. I'm starting a new company here in Pensacola. Focus on meditations, focus on mindfulness. It's focused on the improvement of the individual. Stressful. Is it stressful to start a new company? Is it stressful to be in a relationship? Is it stressful to be a father? It's stressful to keep up with the house. And so you need to learn how to cope with those things. And I go back to these 5 tips, and I found myself much better. And I realized how we grow from that and how that natural stress really propels you to grow bigger, stronger, and more resilient than ever. Because it's about mindfulness living and purposefully living that really brings this joy to life, and that will bring the oxytocin back to your brain. And if you want more details, if you want help with any of this, if you want help with meditation and mindfulness, that's my role right now, is being a meditation mindfulness coach at Empathic Practice. You can go to our website or talk with me. Thank you.